Well, hello. My name is Jason Peacock. I'm an admissions officer at the University of North Texas, and I also work with school districts around Denton County in scheduling the North Tex College Fair that we have coming up on September 14th from 6:30 to 8:30. And in preparation for this college fair, I've been asked to provide a presentation about things to look for when students are going through the college search process. So I do have a presentation I'd like to go over with to kind of help students and families formulate what questions are important questions to ask as they are researching colleges and talking to admissions individuals from the schools throughout Texas and the United States. So let me share my screen and I'll pull up the presentation. So the title of the presentation is How to Choose the Right College. It's not how to choose the best college. I think very often students will sometimes get bogged down in trying to find out what is the best ranked school when that may not provide you the answer that you need to have to make the right college choice. I think it's important that students really look and try to figure out which school is not necessarily the best, but which is the right school for you. What is the school that has the academic programs, the student service and student development pieces, has that campus community that you need to have access to be successful as a freshman at whatever school you do attend. So to start off, the first question I think students need to ask is, why are they going to college? Well, certainly we see students make more if they have a college degree than if they don't, generally speaking. The opportunity to meet new people, a diverse group, not only in what they look like, but in where they're from and what degree programs they're studying. It's an exciting part to choose college, is finding those kind of friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. And then more opportunity. Traditionally, we see students with a college degree have much lower unemployment than a high school diploma. And certainly we see this aggravated in the current COVID conditions. So there are a lot of reasons to get a college degree. These are just a few of reasons why college might be most appropriate for you. Now, I think it's important that we first, in looking at colleges, we realize that there are not all colleges are the same. So, of course, there are two-year institutions and four-year institutions available. In Texas, or in Denton County, NCTC is the two-year school for the area. And generally, we see two-year schools are a little less expensive than four-year schools, but they may not have all of the specialized courses that students may need to take. For instance, if you're an engineering student or a music student or an art student, there really is often not a benefit to going to a two-year school as opposed to starting at UNT immediately. But you will have both of those types of institutions as you're researching colleges. Public and private institutions, generally public schools are a little less expensive, although for some private schools with financial aid and scholarship options, they may be a very comparative to what your out-of-pocket costs are going to be with public schools. You will find church-affiliated institutions. For some schools, this is a historical affiliation only. There's no expectations for students studying at the school with regards to that church affiliation. But in other schools, you may be required to attend chapel, take coursework and curriculum. So finding out what church affiliation a school might have and how that might impact your academic studies can be important. You'll find ethnic minority and HBCUs in your research. An HBCU is a historically Black college and university, and there are certainly several of those in Texas. On the four-year school side, Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern University. both kind of in the Houston area, are historically Black colleges and universities. We do see an increasing number of ethnic minority and Hispanic serving institutions, HSIs, as we kind of see that demographic change take over in Texas. So actually, UNT is now an ethnic minority institution based upon our student body, as well as an Hispanic serving institution based upon our student body. And we expect more and more Texas public institutions will start to see this shift too in the intervening years. There are some same-sex institutions you might come into contact with, although these seem to be a dying breed. Texas Woman's University has been co-ed for 30, 40 years almost now. So there are a few of these out there, but less and less every year, it seems. And then finally, there are a few specialty major institutions that you may come across. And these are going to be schools which are going to focus in very narrow bands of degree programs, such as business programs or engineering and science programs. University of Missouri Institute of Science and Technology in Rolla is a good example of one of those specialized specialty majors. Colorado School of the Mines is another. So as you were researching colleges, as you enter the Nortex College Fair environment online on Monday the 14th, these are some of the different types of schools that you might come into contact with. Now, when you're beginning to research schools, what matters? One of the most important things is accreditation. Accreditation is what provides value to the degree that you're earning. It's what ensures courses are going to be transferable from the school you're at to another school in case you need to transfer. And also for employment purposes, accreditation can be very important. Unfortunately, we don't really make it incredibly simple to understand accreditation for higher education. Instead of there being one national organization for accreditation that accredits every college and university across the United States, we do it regionally. And here's a map of how the states are set up regionally. So basically, if you're going to college in Texas, Kentucky, Virginia, Florida, any in that entire southeastern swath of the U.S., with Texas and LA, Louisiana included, we are all accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. So you would want to be sure if you're applying to or interested in attending a school in any of those states in pink, you will want to be sure they are accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. But if you're looking to go to school in California, you need to be sure it's it's accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. If you're going to school in New York, it's the Middle States Association of Schools and Colleges. So there's not really one accreditation agency for all of America. We have it split up into these, 7 different regional accreditation agencies. And this is what ensures your degree has value, will allow you to get into master's and PhD programs, as well as find employment after graduation. Now, there are going to be schools that are not regionally accredited, but are nationally accredited. There are a lot of different national accreditation agencies for colleges and universities, but generally, four-year schools you may be most familiar with will not recognize coursework from those nationally accredited schools. Very often, those are more vocationally oriented or career training. And without having that regional accreditation, the courses just don't come over to regionally accredited schools. So be careful if a school says, yes, we are nationally accredited. Now, with that in mind, there is some national accreditation which can benefit students, but this is not going to be college and university accreditation, but specific department, academic departments or academic program accreditation. So regardless of what school you're going to, Hopefully, whatever school you are applying for is regionally accredited. You may want to do some research into the degree program you're seeking to get. Every degree program may have an additional national accreditation designated for it. So if you're interested in becoming a teacher, well, then you're going to want to be sure that the College of Education that you attend at the school, which is regionally accredited, is NCATE accredited. That's the National Council for a Teacher's Education Certification. If you're looking to go into art, it's the American Association of Colleges and Schools of Business. So these national accreditations for specific academic areas are basically, they go above and beyond. They are showing that not only are these schools or are these programs regionally accredited within the college and university, but the department has gone through an additional accreditation to receive this special designation. One of the most useful accreditations definitely is that ABET accreditation. ABET accreditation is for engineering, and if in many instances, if a student does not attend an ABET accredited College of Engineering, they may not be hired by some engineering firms, as many engineering firms will require that ABET accreditation for the College of Engineering. So just want to clarify that their colleges and universities should be regionally accredited, but programs in academic degree areas may need to be, you may want to look to see if they have a national accreditation, but you may need to do a little research to figure out what national accreditation is connected to the major that you wish to study. Now, once you've kind of determined that the school is accredited and that if your particular academic area has that additional national accreditation, I think it's important that you reach out to faculty members and representatives from the programs that you're working with. At Nortex, you'll have a great opportunity to meet with admissions officers from schools all across the U.S. And while my colleagues in admissions, myself included, we're very helpful, we enjoy working with students and getting them excited about our colleges and universities. The faculty members and representatives for the departments are the people you're really going to see for the following 4 years after you've selected college. So I think it is important as a prospective student that you find out what access you have to faculty members and representatives from specific areas, specific academic programs. So you can talk to them about what their degrees are like, what their students and faculty, how they interact, because these are the people you're going to be intimately familiar with for the next 4 years. As an admissions officer, we're great to work with on applying for scholarships and making sure you have everything in, but really getting that detail on if an academic program is going to suit your needs. Faculty members are a great resource, and you can go online. Every school has a catalog. That catalog is filled with every professor at that school. So you have a good chance to kind of look at the professors for the program you're interested in, see where they studied, see what their content, academic content area is, interest area is. And so you can really learn a lot about a program by just kind of researching what faculty members teach there. And it's never a problem in my mind for you to email the faculty faculty representative and say, I'm a prospective student, I'm really interested in your degree program at whatever school they attend, they are employed at. I'd like to talk to you more about the program. Would you please contact me at your convenience? And see if you can develop a relationship, see if they're helpful and answer questions, because if they're not helpful for a prospective student considering their department, they're probably not going to be very helpful if you do choose to attend there. So location, I think, is important. When I was a senior in high school, I fell in love with the college. It was the only college I applied to. Luckily, I got in and I attended there. And while it was a great institution, I met some great friends at that school and have some incredible memories. It wasn't the right location for me. So I was born and raised in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I ended up starting at a small liberal arts college in a rural town of about 20,000 people. And making that transition from living in a large urban area to living in a much smaller rural town was really difficult for me. And it's not something I considered when I was really researching the college. I visited the campus, I fell in love with the campus, and yeah, that's all it took. But making that college choice is about a lot more than just falling in love with a college campus. If you're making a commitment to a campus, you're making a commitment to that community as well for 4 years. So I think it's imperative that students, any school you're looking at attending, if you definitely, if you can, tour. I know tours may be a little difficult. Hopefully, students will have more opportunities to make physical tours of schools. But if not, find out what virtual tours options they have. And I think it is important, spend the night in any town for any college town you're considering. Find out what there is to do off of campus, because if you're miserable off of campus, you're not going to be successful on campus. So location should certainly be something students consider. And also, how far away is it from home? If you're looking to go out of state, we encourage students to go out of state, but you may need to factor in those additional costs to get you back and forth between holidays. And you may not have that option of coming home, except when the semester is over. So size is important. What kind of size of an institution are you looking for? Now, I think a lot of times people think large public universities are automatically have all 500-person classes. And while there's certainly a possibility coming to a school like UNT, you might be in a class with 500 students. We do our best to minimize class sizes as much as possible, particularly for students as they are in their degree program areas. So don't be afraid about looking at a school of 30,000 people, because even though it might be a really large student population, through programs like Honors College, depending upon what major you're in, most of your classes may only be 30 to 40 students large anyway. But the size of a campus can provide unique opportunities in the way of internships, scholarship opportunities, study abroad options, networking potential. So there are benefits and drawbacks regardless of the size of institution you're looking at. So do visit a couple of different types of institutions to get an idea of what certain ones have and what others might not have. So the cost of tuition, I think, is very important. And I think far too often, students simply ask, what is your tuition? And that is only one small part of the overall cost of attendance for higher education. At UNT, tuition and fees are usually combined together. And fees are about 30% of what tuition and fees are, 30 to 40%. So just asking what tuition is only going to give you one very small component of the overall cost. I think the best question a student can ask is, what is the cost of attendance? Every school should have a cost of attendance. This is the total amount of the total cost associated with attending a school for a year. So it would include the tuition and fees. It also covers estimates for books and supplies. Now, it is an estimate, so if if you're a music student or an art student, some of those books and supply fees may exceed what our estimate is. But housing costs, we estimate whether you're going to live on campus or off campus, and that factors into the cost of attendance. So even if you're living at home, we consider living at home part of the cost of attendance. food expenses, parking expenses, travel expenses, and personal expenses. So this cost of attendance is a phrase that we use that kind of is an all-encompassing term. And I think that's often a question that students should ask a school. Don't just get a piece of the answer by asking, what is your tuition? Ask what the cost of attendance is. And you can also ask about what your direct costs and your indirect costs are. As a freshman, your first year on campus, your direct costs are going to be your tuition, fees, room and board. All of the additional costs, which are part of cost of attendance, are indirect. So there are ways you can sometimes save money on those. So asking what the direct cost is for tuition, fees, room and board can also give you a more realistic look at what the cost is for the school. So majors, important. Too often, students that I work with at UNT, when they arrive, they're upset because they're interested in becoming a nurse and we don't have a nursing degree. So it really is important that students don't just get caught up in what a school's color is, what their mascot is, because your big brother went there. It's really important that you do research on schools on your own to answer that question, is a school right for you? And quite frankly, if you're interested in becoming a nurse, UNT is probably not a good option for you because we don't offer that major. So I think it is important students do that research, learn about the academic programs that they're interested in, think about what career fields may exist after they graduate, and find out what services the school has to help students find jobs after they major, complete their major as well. Speaking of those student support services, certainly student employment and career services is one of those support services we offer students in helping find employment while they're a student on campus and off campus. And then, of course, once they are looking to begin their careers after they graduate, we continue to support them after graduation. You're paying for these support services through those cost of fees. So really find out what you have access to. Tutoring and mentoring services, writing labs, math labs. These are all things that every student will pay for. So it's important you know what you can utilize to be successful in college. At UNT, we even noticed that students had a difficult transition financially, of course, to college. We all know academically college is more difficult than high school, but also moving into college, many students will get their first credit card, they'll get their first bank account. So we developed a student support service called the Student Money Management Center, which works with students on their loan, loan counseling that they have for financial aid, but also they will set up personal budget counseling for students to kind of help them learn how to budget and to be more financially prepared for success in college and success after college. So again, you're paying a lot of fees for student services, these support services. So we'll find out what you can benefit from, whatever school you're looking at. A campus life is important to look at. Every school is going to have a campus calendar, which is going to indicate events that are occurring on campus, in the community, what lectures are being held, what galleries and shows and music opportunities are going to be performed publicly. So I think it's important that students look and see how active a campus is. Every school has a campus calendar that you can review to see what upcoming events are, and kind of put yourself in the shoes of a student on campus there and ask yourself, are these events that I would benefit from? Would I attend these events if they were held if I went to this school? Campus life, you're choosing college based upon the academics. That is the reason why you're going to college, is the academic instruction that you're going to have. But college is an immense amount of fun. So it is important you're aware of what campus life activities there are to get involved in outside of class. As a student at UNT, I had a chance to get involved in a kind of a debate team, Model United Nations type program. And I got to travel abroad. I went to Kuwait and Mexico. I got to go to DC and St. Louis for competitions. And through that experience in that student organization, I got to host a college fair, well, a Model United Nations fair for 400 university students from across Texas and the Southwest. And even though it had nothing to do with my major, that taught me unique things for event management, marketing, accounting. It was just a really incredible experience that even though it had nothing to do with what my major was at UNT, because I was involved in the student organization, it really kind of helped round me out as a employable individual after I finished that because of all those extra experiences I got through being involved on campus. Now, for many students, this may not be a high priority, but I know for parents and families it can be. So how safe is campus? One unique resource that schools will provide is the Clery Act report. Every school is obliged to provide a report of all criminal activity which has occurred on campus over the preceding year. So you can see how many crimes has occurred on any campus in the US if you review an institution's Clery Act report. Now, one thing to note is these will only involve interactions on campus or including campus police only. So I always encourage students to also look at the neighborhoods surrounding campuses you're considering, because for some schools, while the campus may be safe, the neighborhood could be drastically different. But find out if schools still offer emergency phone kiosks on campus. Is there a motorist assistance if the student has a flat when they go out to their car or their battery's dead after it's been parked for a couple of weeks? So again, these are additional factors that you may not need to know going into the college search process, but as you're finalizing things, kind of getting a view on safety and security can help finalize those choices. So questions students can ask themselves, are things happening on campus? Is it an exciting and lively campus? Will I be engaged both in class and outside of class? I think reaching out to current students that are enrolled at our institutions right now is a great candid resource for you. You have friends that have gone on to schools you're considering now. Ask those friends what their experiences were like. What was admissions like? What was scholarship application like? What's your impression of being on campus? Again, with COVID, it's a very different situation than it has been ever before anywhere else. So a lot of your friends that may be enrolled in class right now, they may give you a really good expectation of what you can experience going through this process now. And does the college seem student-centered? How important is the student experience on that college campus? Or is the student experience not important? Are the professors more concerned about research and getting back to their labs as opposed to having open and meaningful communications with students in their classes? So I think that's an important question to ask as you're reviewing schools too. So how do we gain this information? So surfing the web, every college and university has tons of information online available at your fingertips 24/7. Obtain college publications at the Nortex College Fair. Whenever you go to a school's booth, you can request to send your contact information to the schools. And if you do that, they'll be able to mail you college publications. I think it's important for you to compare your choices. Make a list of your top 5 or 7 schools and really put down some of this information we talked about your ability to connect with faculty, about the cost, about scholarship and financial aid opportunities, about student services for each of the schools that you're considering. And you might find one of the schools that was on lower down your list might actually be at the top when you compare it to the other schools you're looking at. Visit the campus. I think this is key. Some schools are hosting on-campus tours now. Others are hopeful to announce tours in the near future, UNT being among the latter. But visiting campus is the most appropriate way to get that connection to the university and determine if it is going to be a right fit for you. Visiting campus, planting your feet between classes, seeing students go from class to class back to the dorms, eating in one of the dorm cafeterias. I think all of those are integral components of students doing the appropriate research to find the right college for them. Let us know if you have any questions about visiting our campuses. We love to host students. Attend special prospective student events. Every school will host big open house events. I know we've got one coming up on the 24th, so ask about those events. It's a good way to get an overview of campus in a limited period of time, but can also help you know who else you need to contact to have questions answered after the event's over. And finally, talk to us. And by us, I mean the admissions counselors that are available in the college fair. We look forward to connecting with students. We may not have a lot of time to chat while we are in the chat rooms as part of Nortex. But we do hope that you'll reach out to us by email, that you'll schedule appointments with us outside after Nortex. Because we really do like getting to know our prospective students and figuring out how our campuses might fit into the students' grander scheme. So never hesitate to reach out to the admissions officer. We enjoy working with our students. Now, we do offer campus tours at UNT. Right now they are virtual, but we do hope to go live very shortly. So do let us know if you have any questions about setting up a tour with UNT. And my contact information in case you have any questions. I am responsible for Denton County, so if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with UNT, I'd still love to help. Now, just to finish things out, I do want to quickly show you the Nortex website and provide you some quick information with regards to the Nortex event. So we do look forward to you registering for Nortex. Again, the event is Monday, September 14th. Admissions representatives from schools should be available from 6:30 to 8:30 that night. To register, you'll just click on the Register Here Now link, which will take you to this website where you are able to register for the college fair. Now, I'm already logged in, so once you do register for the college fair, you'll be able to go into the live college fair. Oh. It looks like I'm having some trouble, but when you do log in, you'll be able to click on the live college fair and find a listing of all the different colleges and universities that Nortex has available. When you click on the school that you're interested in, you'll be able to watch videos, learn a little information, find important links from the various schools, and finally communicate with admissions officers from those schools. If you do have any questions on logging in, please don't hesitate to email me at jason.peacock@unt.edu. We look forward to seeing you at Nortex. And if I can be of any assistance in helping you or your families consider North Texas, please don't hesitate to let me know. We appreciate your attention. Thanks for your assistance, and go Mean Green.